With the recent announcement of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 ports to the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, I find myself thinking about these games even more than I usually do. As someone who grew up with the Mario Galaxy series, they are my favorite games of all time. The gameplay is amazing, the story might be even better, and the overall vibe of this game is so interesting. I'm assuming you already know all of this though. What is very interesting though, is that these games are chock full of crazy facts, unused content, and some theories that are actually interesting to consider for a Mario game. All of these things mentioned are included in these two iceberg charts that I combined to bring you this video. If you don't know what an iceberg chart is, they are basically a gallery of information. They start with common well-known facts at the top and end with some dark and obscure facts at the bottom. Before we begin, special thanks to the two redditors, Puzzleheaded-Dirt-45 and DiJGit, for making these charts, as without them this video wouldn't be made. Also, this video will be split into two parts, as this is a long iceberg and I want to keep my sanity. Anyways, let's jump into the definitive Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 iceberg. Hell Valley Sky Trees. In World 5 of Mario Galaxy, there's a galaxy known as Shiverburn Galaxy. This is like a sequel to Freeze Frame Galaxy, in which there are fire and ice sections of the level. This game turns it up a notch by combining both at once, which makes it very memorable. However, that isn't the only reason why many remember this level. At any point, if you go into the first person mode and look up at the top of the valley, you see these strange figures staring down at you. These things look creepy as hell. When looking at the files of this game, you find that they are referred to as Hell Valley Sky Trees. However, these things look more like aliens or some monster. The name and the fact that they are always watching you makes these one of the scariest things in the game. Chimney Pipe. In Starship Mario, there's a room you can enter where you collect all of the power-ups and display them. This entrance is located under the brim of Mario's hat, however that isn't the only way to enter. When you go into the main deck of the ship, you notice there's this chimney nearby. If you backflip and land on the chimney, it acts like a pipe and it takes you to the before mentioned room. I remember finding this when I was dicking around the starship and I felt like I cracked the Matrix. Sign in the door. In Good Egg Galaxy, you land in these planes that have a small house nearby. If you go up to the door and try to enter, you are prompted to press the A button and read a note. However, what you are interacting with is a signpost placed right behind the door, not the door itself. This was a smart move by the developers, as they didn't need to create an entirely new interactive object. They just reused a sign. E3 Beta/Trailer. In E3 of 2006, Nintendo showed off Mario Galaxy and even included a playable demo of the game. There are many mechanical differences that would take too long to go over, but some notable ones is the fact that the spin move can be done repeatedly. The coins can be collected by a spin move, and the life counter had 8 points rather than the final 3. The game had a level known as Star World, which combined elements from multiple levels like Good Egg Galaxy or Slingpod Galaxy. The level ends with the boss being Tarantox, which looks very similar to the final version. There was also a unique planet called Home Planet, which had a unique design, and was likely supposed to be the first level. Overall, it's really cool seeing early builds of games to see cut content or how ideas changed before release. If you're interested, I would definitely check out this demo. Hell Prominence. The galaxy known as Melty Molten Galaxy has a different name in the Japanese version, being Hell Prominence. It's honestly interesting for a level name, but I understand why it changed in different localizations. This is just a cool fact of a galaxy having a different name. Death Counter. In both Mario Galaxy games, if you get every star in the game, you can unlock a death counter that displays on your save file. This gives you a chance to see if you are absolute trash at the game or are simply a pro. This is a useless but cool feature. Starred Get. Another difference that the Japanese version of Mario Galaxy has is the text that displays when you collect a power star. In the English version it says, "You got a star," while in the Japanese version it says, "Star Get." This is a common way to say you got something in Japan, and even appears in Mario Sunshine. You are Mr. Gay. Look at the Mario Galaxy box art, man. This is one of the best box arts ever, I'm not gonna lie. But, if you look closely at the logo, you notice that there are these shiny spots on some of the letters. When you take every letter with one of these spots, you get a message that says, "You are Mr. Gay." Wow, Nintendo, I can't believe you got political with this one. Anyways, we don't know the context of this, so either the game is saying you are a homosexual, or it is saying that you are happy. I guess we will never know. Coconuts becoming watermelons. In both Mario Galaxy games, if you somehow collected 9,999 star bits, the coconuts in the game all changed into watermelons. There's absolutely no reason for this to happen, but that makes it pretty fun. Imagine you had no knowledge of this and tried to collect that many star bits to see if you could unlock a secret level or something, just to end up with some fucking watermelons. Homing Ground Pound. Another feature of both Galaxy games is the fact that you can do a homing ground pound. Basically, all you have to do is jump, do a spin attack, and immediately ground pound. This allows you to home in on nearby enemies or switches that require a ground pound. What is interesting about this is that the move was never mentioned in the game's instruction booklets, but obviously it was a programmed feature in the game. Olimar's ship. In Space Junk Galaxy, you encounter a lot of, well, junk. Among a lot of the random objects you can walk on, one happens to be Olimar's ship, the SS Dolphin from the Pikmin series. I love when video game companies include little references to other franchises in their games. Also, this is just speculation, but I think it showed up as Pikmin and Mario Galaxy were built on the Mario 128 tech demo, which we will look at in a later entry. Shrinking Galaxy Planet. For some reason in the Deep Dark Galaxy, if you look around the starting planet, you will notice that the gateway planet from the tutorial is visible. Not only can you see it, but you can actually get to it. If you hop in a nearby cannon, you can launch yourself to the planet. This is where the strange part comes into play. There's a screw in the planet that if you unscrew, will cause the planet to shrink until it disappears. Deep Dark Galaxy already has a strange vibe, and this just adds to it. Low-key unsettling. Ghostly Galaxy Sky. Ghostly Galaxy is one of the haunted levels in Mario Galaxy. It features a giant mansion and a boss fight with a sentient boulder. Adding to the spooky theming is the level's skybox. It appears to show elongated spirits floating in it, even with eyes and a mouth. This is honestly kind of haunting as it means they are trapped in space just floating around. For a kid's game, this one can get kind of dark. Good Egg House Owner. Looking back at the house in Good Egg Galaxy, it is natural to wonder who owns this house, especially because of the fact it has a weird-ass interior and a locked door. One theory many have is that Luigi is the owner of the house. This is supported by the fact that he's literally standing on the roof. I disagree though, because why would he be there, and why would it be locked when he is home? Maybe he is hiding something. Rolling Gizmo Rupee. In the Rolling Gizmo Galaxy, there is this bridge in the first section that is hiding a secret. If you look behind it, there's a formation of blue star bits that are the shape of a rupee, the iconic currency from the Legend of Zelda series of games. Like I said with Olimar's ship, I like it when developers add small little references like this. Pokeball Planet. In Buoy Base Galaxy, there's a spherical planet made of metal. When you land on this planet, there's a corkscrew that when you unscrew, splits half of the planet open and reveals water underneath. The camera pans out and shows the planet, which has a striking resemblance to a Pokeball from Pokemon. Now, I don't like enslaving little creatures, but I fuck with this reference. Grand Finale Galaxy. After you beat both campaigns in Mario Galaxy, being Mario and Luigi's playthroughs, you unlock one final level. Grand Finale Galaxy. If you know anything about modern Mario games, you can usually bank on a secret hard final level getting unlocked after beating the game. Well, this isn't exactly that. You get to play through the opening of the game again, but you have to collect 100 purple coins. There are no enemies or even platforming. Compared to other final levels, this one is kinda mid. Despite that fact, it's a fun little romp through the opening section. Grandmaster Galaxy. After you beat Mario Galaxy 2, including all the Green Star missions, you unlock the Grandmaster Galaxy. This is more like it for a final level. It takes everything you learned and tests your skill by throwing you in a hard-as-nails level, where you have to do precise platforming, play around with Yoshi, and use some power-ups to get to the end. This game started the trend of some crazy-ass final levels, but this isn't the end. If you deposit 9,999 star bits to the bank toad, you will unlock a challenge comment for this galaxy. This stage is known as the perfect run, and that title is accurate. You have to play the whole level with no checkpoints and only one hit point. I was somehow to beat this level, and fuck. This was really challenging. It took me countless attempts, but when I finally beat it, I was on top of the world. If you are enjoying this video, please consider subscribing and dropping a like. It's free, and it would mean tons to me. Anyways, back into the video. Starman Fort. Starman Fort is probably one of the most iconic scrapped Mario levels ever. This was an earlier stage designed for Mario Galaxy which featured a large fortress on top of half of a planet. The bottom half of the planet appears to feature an early version of Megalig, with the whole bottom looking similar to where you actually fight him in the game. As for the fortress, it is massive. I think this would have been one of the most explorable levels in this game. It features snow and grassland on the bottom with a large orange fort. This level honestly looks like it would have been really fun to just run around in, so it's sad that it never got made. Super Mario 128 successor. In Space World 2000, when showing off the GameCube, Nintendo shared a tech demo known as Super Mario 128. The tech demo featured 128 Marios on a flat disc that was able to transform and take different shapes. Shigeru Miyamoto would go on for years to claim that this was an actual game, but it never saw the light of day. Despite this fact, the features of the demo went on to be used in many games. The large amount of Marios got reused for Pikmin, the physics went on to be used in Metroid Prime, and the gravity-defying tech was used in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Super Mario Galaxy. Despite never coming out, I'm glad they used the features of this demos for multiple games. It really shows Nintendo's resourcefulness. Flashback Galaxy Windmill. In Flashback Galaxy from the second game, there is a maze planet. When you arrive here and look behind you, you see a large windmill lurking in the distance. This is a creepy detail as you can't get to it and it just towers over everything in the galaxy. Kind of interesting, and I wonder why it was included in this level. Yeah, I am. Are you? Looking at the box art of Mario Galaxy 2, you notice that it has the same shiny spots as the first game. And as you remember, those ones spell out "You are Mr. Gay." Well, this game has a response to this. If you take all the shiny letters and reverse them, you get this phrase. Yeah, I am. Are you? I guess both of these games are having a conversation. This is just a funny little Easter egg that these games have for absolutely no reason. Dead. You thought we were done with Ghostly Galaxy? Well, you guessed wrong. The first 4 notes of the theme of this level spell out dead. This is a low-key morbid detail, but it makes sense as to why it shows up in this galaxy. Maybe it has something to do with the lingering spirits floating in the sky. Who knows though. Split timeline. Since both Galaxy game stories are very similar, many think that they take place concurrently in split timelines. Some evidence for this is the ending of Mario Galaxy where the Lunas come together to rebuild the universe after it was destroyed from a black hole. Basically, Galaxy 2 takes place around the same time of the first game, just in this new timeline. It features similar events and story beats, so I can see it. The fact that Galaxy 2 also ignored the first game and acts like this is a brand new adventure can also be interpreted to support this theory. Honestly, it makes sense and makes these games more interesting to look into. Strange Luigi ghost. In the second game, when you beat a level, sometimes you'll get a message that says a ghost appeared in the level. When you travel back, you encounter a ghostly Luigi that starts moving when you touch it. It runs through the whole level with a trail of green arrows behind it so you can follow it. What's strange is that this ghost only takes the form of Luigi, even if you clear the stage with Mario. Miniature train. In Toy Time Galaxy, if you go to the area where you first get the spring mushroom, you can find a hidden detail. If you ignore the mushroom and go onto a nearby ledge, you have enough room to stand on it. When you do land on it and go into first person mode, you can see a miniature train right under the gap. Adding to the list of things I like developers do is add random shit like this that most people will never see, unless you go searching for it. Amazing work for a stupid little train. Canopy. Mario Galaxy has plenty of unused content. There's an unused enemy in the files with the name Canopy. Canopy looks like a weird little toad with no arms. Despite resembling the friendly toads, the enemy will hurt you on contact. In Japan, toads are referred to as Canopio, so the spelling is very similar, just like their appearance. Strange thing to program, but I guess it makes sense as to why it never made it into the final game. Cosmic Race Head Start. Did you know that you can get a head start in the Cosmic Races? When the countdown begins at 3, hold the stick forward. When it says 2, press and hold Z to crouch. When it says go, press A and immediately hold the stick forward again. This will cause Mario to turn yellow and get a crazy head start. I mean, the race isn't that hard, but it's cool that you can get a head start. I think this was probably inspired by the boost in Mario Kart, but I didn't make the game, so don't quote me. Backwards momentum. There are these slopes in the game that cause you to slip when you try to go up them. However, it is possible to climb them with a trick. You start by facing Mario away from the slope. Then, you jump and spin. Then, hold the control stick backwards. Keep repeating this until you can get up these slopes. I don't know why you would want to, but you can. Gold Leaf 1-Up. In Gold Leaf Galaxy, there's a hidden 1-Up that is really hard to get to. On the first planet, if you go to the top where there's a waterfall and a warp pipe and go into first person, you can see a sneaky little 1-Up mushroom on top of a tree. It seems impossible to collect, but through some crazy shit you can actually collect it. But ain't nobody got time for that. Cosmic Luigi. When playing the post-game of Mario Galaxy known as Luigi Galaxy, the cosmic clone that Mario races takes the form of Luigi rather than Mario, since you can play as him. The clone also has the same physics as Luigi, which are different than Mario, as Luigi is more slippery and can jump higher. This makes sense, and it's cool that it happens as Nintendo didn't have to do this. Laughing enemies. Every enemy stops when they hit you to give you time to recover. However, some of the enemies will laugh at you when they hit you instead. An example is the piranha plant. This is just a funny little detail. I mean, come on, the enemies are rage baiting you after you already got hit. How could you do that to me? Lumalee gets eaten. Lumalee is a cute little Luma that appears before boss fights and offers a 1-Up mushroom or a life mushroom. When you pay him, he will transform into the one of your choice. This implies that you eat Lumalee since he is the mushroom that you eat. That's kind of dark, but I guess Lumas like to transform into shit, so it's his weird choice. Polari. Polari is that brownish Luma that seems to serve as Rosalina's butler. Him and Rosalina have a similar relationship to Peach and Toadsworth. He also has extensive knowledge of space and how to traverse it as he introduces you to the observatories that allow you to travel to galaxies. It's rumored that he is one of the first Lumas Rosalina met. What's weird is that his name is never mentioned in the game. We only know his name from the instruction booklet. Honeyhive Sleeping Bee. In the Honeyhive Galaxy, when exploring the first area, you can find a secret sleeping bee up on a tree. Bro is way out of the way, but just like the mini train, this shows that Nintendo will throw in silly little goobers that don't do anything but are cool to find. This game is just peak. The top man helped kidnap Peach. In the cutscene where Peach's castle gets ripped out of the ground by a UFO, many players notice that this UFO looks oddly familiar. In Battle Rock Galaxy, you enter a base that is occupied by the top men. Eventually, you go onto this familiar looking UFO and fight the chief. This UFO bears a striking resemblance to the UFO in the opening cutscene, down to the laser blasters. This leads many to theorize that Bowser worked with the top men to steal Peach's castle and kidnap her at the same time. This makes sense as the top men are aggressive towards Mario in the game. This is just a neat piece of world building, if true. The boards. The signboards in Mario Galaxy actually have names. In fact, there are 4 of them in total. They are Philboard, Billboard, Gilboard, and Jillboard. It's funny that the billboards in this game have names, and that their names are puns that rhyme with billboard. Shit is stupid, but I love it. Universe resets. At the end of Mario Galaxy 1, a massive black hole appears and threatens to destroy the universe. In an attempt to stop it, all of the Lumas launch themselves into the black hole. The screen goes black and you end up in this void with Rosalina, where she explains that the Lumas throwing themselves into the black hole wasn't to stop it, but to reset the universe. Basically, the universe resets itself every once in a while, and the Lumas were helping with this. Rosalina then sends Mario to the reset universe, where he welcomes the new galaxy. This is a complicated and crazy ending, but I love it. Only this game would have the balls to do something this grand and existential. Different credits. If you beat the game with 120 power stars, you get a secret ending after the credits roll. After they are done, you see Rosalina, and she says that you will be watched by her over the stars. Not only this, but you also get to see that the baby Luma is still alive, which is good news considering the ending events of this game. Sequence breaking. In the third mission of Beach Bowl Galaxy, there's a hidden star where you break open a hidden chest and go to a new planet and get the star. However, this chest is present for the second star, where you have to bring a gold shell to the Chief Penguin. If you use the gold shell to open the chest and get the secret star meant for the third mission, you can skip the second mission altogether. This is because when you select a secret star in the level select screen, it brings you to the main mission where the secret is found. That means you can skip the second mission and go straight to the third. Kind of useless, but it's a cool sequence break. Alternate Toad Brigade dialogue. Depending on how fast you unlock the observatories and collect stars, the Toad Brigade on the Comet Observatory will have differing dialogue. That means you can miss tons of dialogue on your playthrough just because you are a gaming expert. An example from the creator of this Iceberg is how if you have 60 plus stars when you unlock the engine room, the Toads talk about fighting Bowser. However, if you have less than 60 stars, the Toads will talk about the upper floors of the observatory and the outer galaxies they hold. Drip Drop Starshroom. In Drip Drop Galaxy, there's a sunken Starshroom in the planet's core. For those who don't know, a Starshroom is the ship that the Toads use in the game. This means the crew on the ship either crashed or abandoned the ship, meaning they were likely in danger. Again, I'm going to say this a lot in this video, that is pretty dark for a kid's game. Rosalina's Force Field. When traveling to the center of the universe, Rosalina envelops the whole Comet Observatory in a force field to protect it as it arrives. This is another example of how Rosalina is one of the most powerful Mario characters, and it's awesome. Rosalina can cook. Visible pipe rooms. In some levels, there are pipe rooms where you can complete a mini challenge to earn a 1-up. Most of the time, they are so far away that they don't render while you're in the main stage. However, some do end up being visible. An example is in Good Egg Galaxy. On the top of the house, there's this orange pipe that can bring you into the room. If you move the camera to a perfect angle, you can actually see the room in the distance. Comet Tico. In the first game, there's this purple Luma known as Comet Tico that appears when you get 31 power stars. When you talk to him, you find out he can shuffle the prankster comments if you want to play a different one or the current one is too difficult. He also can explain different comments as well. Gold Leaf Sliding Blocks. In Gold Leaf Galaxy, there's this strange block object that slides around to untouched. One unique part of this object is that it can damage Mario or Luigi when it hits them. This is unique for a block object as no other one does this. When you ground pound this block, it can release an item. Anyways, that was part 1 of the video. As you can probably tell, I really love all of these games, so it was really fun getting to learn new facts about them. I hope the same was true with you. Also, if I got any facts wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments, as I want to know the truth about these facts. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and consider subscribing and turning the post notification bell on. I put a lot of time into these videos, and that would help me out a lot. Anyways, it's been Swimpy, and I'm gonna go work on part 2. Goodbye.